community, mga ka-maharlika, mga ka-direct, made in chismis, yan. Kamusta kayo dyan, mga kameta? Happy Monday. Bagong linggo. Dapat bagong ligo rin, di ba? Sana, di ba? Kamusta kayo dyan? Today, medyo pag-usapan natin. May update pa rin tayo sa Maharlika. Huwag kayong mag-worry. May walk back na naman pala na iba ang kasalukuyan na administration at kanyang mga aliado pagdating dito sa Maharlika fun. Pero of course, gusto rin natin pag-usapan today, guys, yung matagal natin ini-insinuate or more than ini-insinuate, which is siguro naman ang Pilipinas dapat ay mag-embrace ng basketball, which I believe is far closer to what's best for us, no? And remember, ang basketball po, globally speaking, medyo maliit na sports yan kumpara sa football, no? Which is the biggest sports in the world. And in fact, the World Cup is the biggest sporting event in the world, even bigger than Olympics when it comes to many indicators and many measurements. No? So, balikan natin yan. Of course, last week until Sunday, grabe yung mga developments na nangyari. Ang Morocco po ngayon na officially nasa semifinals na. And for the first time, I think in history, we may have a chance, or at least recent history, we may have a chance of having finals with no European teams. Or, of course, pwede rin magkaroon ng replay exactly of what happened in 2018 World Cup, no? Croatia versus France. Pero many are hoping that Morocco makes it all the way to the finals with that solid defense. Who knows, they might even win the World Cup this year. It's not totally inconceivable anymore, no? Kung talaga naintindihan yun yung nangyari. Balikan natin itong issue ng Maharlika shortly, guys, bago tayo pupunta in detail, no, dito sa issue ng basketball. Congratulations pala, of course, sa ating mga scholar ng bayan, to my fellow UPians. Of course, nagtatrabaho din tayo dyan. So let me support my fellow UPians. Congratulations for winning another match. Di ba, nanalo ang UP, di ba? Versus Ateneo. Sorry, you can see na priority ko talaga yung World Cup. But, you know, I mean, great, fantastic. I'm really happy for it. I hope we also invest more in football, not soccer, football, no? Na talagang mas tugma sa atin mga Pilipino. Balikan natin ang mabilisan itong Maharlika, guys. Kasi hindi na walang usapin Maharlika dahil napakamahalaga itong Maharlika issue na yan. Una-una, gusto ko i-share itong napaka-witty, although I may have some issues with the characterization, kay Sir Arnold Clavio, no? Meron siyang very funny na pinost na video about Maharlika. Pinost natin ngayon, tuloy nag-trending na. Ayan tayo eh. Wait lang. Ayan tayo. Ano na naman tayo? Hoy, hindi ito Bardagulan, ha? Magpakabait kayo. Ito. Ba't ayaw? Wait lang, ha? Huwag kayong magwala dyan. Ba't ayaw na to? Okay. Anong kaartahan na to? Ayan. Ito. Panoorin to, ha. Ito daw ang Maharlika. Panoorin nyo. Ulitin natin, ha. Wait lang, ha. Parang sarap ilagay ng Andrew E. music sa likod, no? Yung pang ano nyo. Kainis naman to. Ito. Wait lang. Kainis naman to. Tapos kunya, ayan. Pwede natin ibaba. Kainis naman to. Ayan. Bakit di ko mababa yan? Wait lang. Check nyo yan. Kainis. Ba't di ko mababa siya? Of course, hindi ko sasabihin yung Apple ID ko. Ano lang yan. Basta yung cookies, yun yung ano daw. Baba natin ng konti. Yan, para mas kita. Yung wala, nag-viral tuloy ito kanina. Ulitin natin mga kameta. Masarap balikan yung mga ganyan. Medyo semi-sarcastic na ulitin natin na. Take 2. Hopefully mas kuha na. Ayaw talaga. Bakit kaya? Alam niya talaga. Alam niya na ibig sabihin yan. Balikan natin yan. Kaya talaga na to Usually pwede yan Ano natin? Ay na to. Anong ginawa ni Elon Musk? Hindi ko na mabalikan to. Ay, wala na. Hindi ko talaga ma-play, kainis. Basta yung cookies, yun daw yung Maharlika Fund. Tapos, dapat trapang nilagay niya dun sa isa Tapos yung mamaya, na yan, walang natira. Okay, ipopost ko yan mamaya. Ito, ganyan na lang. Para low-tech na naman tayo mga kameta. Back to low-tech. Ayun, no? Ayan. Ito yun. Ito yan. Yan, mga kameta. Yan. Yan. Pinost ko dyan sa YouTube sa shorts, Kay Sir Arnold Clav yan. Hindi yan sa akin yan. Ayan, Panoorin niyo. Ibang klase talaga. The best talaga ang ating mga The best! The best talaga. Ito si Elon Musk, Pinahirapan tayo, Ayaw niya i-play natin to. Walang niya talaga. By the way, kanina si Pangulong Marcos also meron statements. Siyempre, si Pangulong Marcos nasa travel ulit. Nasa Europe naman siya, Brussels. Pakinggan din natin yung yung explanation ni Pangulong Marcos dito sa hindi made in Malacanang. Ano tawag diyan? Inis. Ito. Ayusin ko dito, Dito ko ayusin. Sorry, wait lang, Usually kasi, okay siya pag ginanong ko, Iniiba nila, Ayan. Ito, at least hopefully mapaplay natin ng mabuti. Ito, si Pangulong Marcos, meron siyang update by the way. Talagang vlogger style tayo. Medyo update bago pumunta dun sa meat of the discussion. So, bakit walang sound? Yan.
Para gawin na lang
Ito.
in the regular process of looking at the bill, well, not we, it's the legislature, so let them do their jobs. Tama lang, para gawin na lang perfect.
But do you think that Maharlika can be advantageous to the country? Because some are
For sure, I wouldn't have brought it up otherwise. No, it's very clear that we need added investment. This is another way to get that.
Because sir, some are worried na yung timing daw, na baka... Some are worried about the timing.
Let's not debate until we see the final form. Because we could be debating about provisions that will no longer exist. So, antayin natin kung anong gawin ng legislature. Yeah.
Ivan, Marina,
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
Are you also going to make
Added investment.
So ito, unang-una sinasabi ni Pangulong Marcos dito, kailangan natin ng added investment. So balikan ko yung point na yan.
We need added investment.
Ito.
Because some are
For sure, I wouldn't have
So,
brought it up.
aminado siya na he's behind it, no? I mean,
No, it's very clear that we need added investment.
okay, added investment. That's one argument.
because sir, some are worried na yung timing daw, na baka... Some are worried about the timing.
Let's not debate until we see the final form. Because we could be debating about provisions that will no longer exist. So, antayin natin kung anong gawin ng legislature. Yeah.
Ivan, Marina,
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
Are you also going to make a pitch for the Filipino seafarers before the...
Okay, mamaya balikan natin guys itong pagbisita ni Pangulong Marcos for the commemorative ASEAN Europe Summit at yung ambag ng pagbisita ng ating Pangulo dyan sa Europe. Balikan natin yan. But before that, let me just get back dito sa point ni Pangulong Marcos, which is we need the sovereign wealth fund for investment purposes. But clearly, the counter-argument to that is, bakit pa tayo gagawa ng sovereign wealth fund na mag-invest abroad? Pwede ka naman mag-invest dito sa Pilipinas, napakalaki yung under-investment natin dito sa Pilipinas. So, that's one counter-argument against it. No? So, it makes total sense for us to make investments and try to, have dividends. Okay. Now, ang point ko naman is, there's nothing wrong with making investments and making dividends out of that. The question is this the best way? Kailangan ba tayo mag-invest abroad in a very, very uncertain environment, uber uncertain, radical uncertainty, poly-crisis environment, when ang dami natin kailangan ng internal investments, including sa agriculture infrastructure natin, among others. Kasi kung kukunin din sa investment arm ng mga local development agencies, Land Bank of the Philippines, Philippine Development Bank, well, the point is dapat mag-invest sila domestically. Bakit natin ilagay abroad? Because that's the point of having a sovereign wealth fund. You have excess funds, you don't bring internally, you invest abroad. That's the point. But ang daming underinvestment dito locally sa Pilipinas. At nag-iisip tayo anong mga perang gagamitin natin doon sa infrastructure development plan ni Pangulong Marcos at doon sa pagtapos no, or pagkumpleto doon sa mga pagtapos, sorry, kailangan mag-reply dito. At saka kailangan din kasi natin tapusin yung mga projects ni Pangulong Duterte. No? Only few of President Duterte's projects were finished in his 6 years. So marami dyan na hindi pa kompleto na kailangan natin kukompletoin. No? So yun yung point ko. Again, babalikan natin yan as we get more updates and discussions. But the second thing I want to say is dun sa argument ni Pangulong Marcos na let's see the final version of the bill first before we make comments. Well, I have a slight issue with that because there was a kind of a final version of the bill proposed by presidential son and presidential relative, etc. But clearly, they had to change it when there was public pressure. I'm not sure how much change would have happened had this public pressure had not, taken place to begin with. So actually, yung content ng bill mismo ay nag-evolve depende dito sa response ng ating mga taong bayan, tsaka mga eksperto at tsaka business groups. So the two are very related. The idea here is that checks and balance, it cannot be just left to the legislature. Especially yung isang kongreso na supermajority ng meron tayo pagdating sa gobyerno. No? So the executive has a supermajority, the bill is being pushed by the president's relatives and son, etc. So the point is, if you want real full-fledged checks and balance, there has to be active exercise of citizenship by people and by people to make sure na ito ay madeliberate na mabuti. Let's be very clear. On the record, si Stella Kimbo, one of the proponents of the bill for the Sovereign Wealth Fund, na in response to public pressure, essentially nagtanggal sila ng some key provisions, which is yung SSS, GSIS, as a source for the funding. Si Sandro mismo ang umamin na after consultation. So you get what I'm saying? So clearly, hindi pwede iwan lang sa legislature because democracy is about multiple feedback loops, and multiple channels of communication, and multiple ways by people to express their support or discontent for a specific bill depending on the merits or demerits of it, And more than that, sinasabi natin mga kameta, meron kang situation kung sa may supermajority ng administration sa Kongreso. Ang point is how much effective functional checks and balance can we expect really, So yun din ang isang point. Now, let me also say thank you pala before tayo mag-transition out of this Maharlika for now and getting back to what I really want to discuss, which is really football, not soccer, and bakit ito yung perfect para sa ating mga Pilipino, diba? Let me say mga kameta, ano ba yan? Pala, thank you kay yung mga vloggers dyan na sumusuport din sa atin. Si Sir, hindi ko na kilala, si Sir Dem Josh, So si Sir Dem Josh, may very supportive siyang pinost na YouTube sa atin. And nakita ko rin dun sa mga ibang vloggers. So maraming salamat. I really appreciate this kind of support. Also, I suggest dun sa mga gustong mga vloggers na matapang din na nagpo-push back dito sa excesses ng mga pro-government vloggers, etc. Paki-follow din si Sir Dem Josh, Correct, Dem Josh, right? So thank you for that. Binalikan niya kasi itong issue talaga natin. Hindi naman issue natin, yung itong pag-atake sa atin ni pangalan niya, ni Direct World Class Direct Cannes Festival Level Direct made in Chismis, made in Marites, made in Malacanang, Ayan. So thank you. Just very quickly, thank you for that. Ayan, nasagot ka na yan. Meron na tayo rebuttals and reposts. Let me just plug in and say salamat kay Dem Josh at saka yung mga ibang mga vloggers dyan for appreciating yung mga ginagawa din natin. And I hope more people also appreciate what you're trying to do for country. Although, of course, let me be very clear, I'm strictly in a non-partisan capacity here. Obviously, ayoko ng palpak, ayoko ng authoritarian, ayoko ng tatay-style politics. But, I try to be as non-partisan as possible because I always operate from based on data and facts. You always see it. I always cite my sources. I always go. So, sorry na lang dun sa mga iba hindi nagustuhan yung mga analysis natin. But, this is how you do it. This is how a pro does it. Okay? Now, kung gusto niyo mga fake news, dun na kayo sa mga bloggers niyo, alternative universe niyo. Problema na yan. If you want to live in a cave or alternative universe, that's on you. Okay? Hindi ko na responsibilidad yan. But I'm gonna say my piece based on the facts, based on data, based on my analysis, and body of academic work and research, among others. So, ito, yeah. So, in short, yung sinabi natin kay Karen Direct was, ang lakas nyo mag-cite ng honeymoon approval rates, pero din nyo sinite yung super baba ng approval rating or disapproval rating na mataas, no, more than 40% dun sa management ng inflation. That was the context within which I felt na itong sovereign wealth fund was concocted. No? The idea is that we have to show we're doing something, that we're smart, we're technocratic, kaya kami mention ko yung issue ng technocratic populism. And for me, more importantly, so what if a president or administration is popular? That doesn't mean they have the carte blank check that they're supposed to do whatever they want. And porkit binoto kayo nung elections doesn't mean na mangmang na tayo at bulag-bulagan, natanggap na lang natin kung anong lalabas dyan. No? That's worse than tyranny of majority. That's total passivity. No? You're asking for people to just be, okay, binoto ka namin, gawin mo kahit anong gusto mo. That's not how a modern, functional, constitutional democracy is supposed to operate. So yung mga tao na hindi nila naintindihan yung ating saligang batas at political system natin, baka gusto nyo mag-China, baka gusto nyo mag-North Korea, baka gusto nyo mag-authoritarian system. Alright? Kasi surely you don't understand what's going on. Alright? Okay, so maraming salamat again kay Sir Dem, Josh, and mga others for your vote of confidence and support. And please continue to support also, vloggers and thinkers who are doing their job, right? Which is to stand up for sanity to begin with and a little degree of dignity. No? Kasi wala talagang, forget about dissent, as in walang dignidad. Pag pinanood mo yung ibang vloggers, which I really don't want to, but minsan kasi inattack tayo, parang curious ako, sino ulit to? Ano to? Sino to? Woo! Mga ganun. Tapos pag titignan mo talagang trash, talagang basura talaga. Alright? Kaya, sorry na lang dito sa mga trash talker, junk food bloggers. Alright? Okay. Balikan natin itong issue ng basketball, football. Okay, ganito guys. One big misunderstanding is that ang football or soccer ay para sa mga mayayaman na bansa kasi kailangan mo ng football field. Well, let me tell you right off the bat na that's not true. Kung pumunta ka sa favela, yung mga squatter area ng Brazil, pumunta ka sa Middle East, people can play football or soccer. You just need 2 stones and 1 ball. Yun lang. And then a few inches of space, you can play football there. 3-on-3, 2-on-2, 1-on-1, 10-on-10. Depending on yan. So, you don't need to be a rich country to play football and all. Okay? Mahalagang issue na yan, di ba? So, and by the way, actually, mas kailangan mo pa ng resources dito sa mga, so let me show you examples. No? Yung mga kailangan mo ng soccer field yan. No, that's not true. Go to Africa, go to Middle East, go to favelas in Brazil, go to many developing poor countries where football is their number one passion. They don't have fields like that. I mean, for all ordinary people. No, that's not true. Ganito lang naglalaro yung mga bata. Tingnan mo. So, this is favelas in Brazil. Look at that. No? Kailangan mo, tayo nga, kailangan pa ng basketball court See? You just need a little bit of space there and then put some, 2 rocks there and a ball. That's it. You can play na football. Sobrang actually low maintenance yan na sports. I can tell you myself because I played on the streets before. Alright? Tingin nyo sa akin, konyo, pero actually, nagbabarda. You can just play like that, guys. Simple as that. Just have a, narrow alley, put 2 stones here, put 2 stones there, 3-on-3, that's it. Galing. Ako, keeper ako Kung matangad lang sana ako, di nag-pro na ako. So first of all, let's get rid of this myth na football is for rich countries, when in fact, football is the number one passion of the poorest countries on earth. From Latin America, to Middle East, to Africa, to Central Asia, etc. Not basketball. Basketball is actually more high maintenance. Maglagay ka pa ng korte, ganyan. This one, you can do it any corner. You can just play against the wall. Ganyan lang. Alright? I'm saying because I'm saying it from my own experience. Much of my childhood, I didn't play, dun sa mga fields and all of that. yung mga taga-BGC dyan, mga social people dyan, yung mga football salon, yung mga indoor football people, mga may budget, air condition, sociales, yan. Wala tayong mga, hindi tayong mga sociales dyan, di ba? So, first of all, let's get rid of the total nonsense na this is a sport of richer country with facilities and all. That's not true at all. Pangalawa, let's go to the experience of Morocco. Because Morocco is a developing country, so let me show you the stats of Morocco. So if you look at the Moroccan economy, their per capita income, meaning yung average living standards ng mga tao nila, it's hindi masyadong malayo sa mga bansang katulad ng Pilipinas. So Morocco's GDP per capita, guys, is 3,441, which is almost exactly like the Philippines. Alright? Pakita ko. Ayan o. Pakita ko mga kameta. We're almost exactly identical, no? With Morocco. So we're both at the $3,000 level. Let me just show you our per capita. Nasaan yung per capita dito? Kainis. Ayan. Ito. Ayan, we're practically identical. Let me show you to that. Di ba half Moroccan si yung Gen Z na si Halil. Ano yung pangalan nun? Di ba half Moroccan yan? Okay. Anyway, let me show you this mga kameta. You can see we're exactly the same level. Almost exactly the same level in terms of per capita income as Morocco. So yun, look at this. So this is Morocco. Ito per capita income. Morocco, per capita, 3,934. Philippines, 3,576. So, sobrang lapit Sobrang lapit mga kameta. Yung levels of development natin sa Morocco, at least in terms of per capita income. No, of course, development goes well beyond that. But that's one thing I want to say. Pangalawa, Moroccans are also very similar to us in terms of their passion for family. They're very family-oriented like us. And you can see that dun sa, perhaps the most, arguably, the most iconic picture of the conference, of the tournament of World Cup so far is yung nakikita mong nagsasayaw itong mga Moroccans with their parents, especially their moms. No? You can see how warm they are. They're warm just like us. They love our parents just like us. So this is Hakimi, one of the top players. So you see all of these pictures of moms getting love and support from their sons dito sa tournament na yan. Tanggalin muna natin itong mga to. Yan. Okay. So they're very, very family oriented. In fact, one of the things that they did during the World Cup was sinigurado nila na the relatives, the family, are close to the players so that the players don't feel lonely. The players have sense of strong moral support, no? And in fact, no less than yung coach mismo ng Moroccan team, who's a Moroccan himself, also his mother has joined him throughout the tournaments and all. And he actually took over Morocco just a few months ago. So barely over 100 days lang meron siya, but he was able to put this team together because he understood the passion for family, the power of the love of the mothers and parents, and making sure the moral support is 100% throughout the training process and throughout the World Cup. You can see that. And tayo bilang mga Asiano, we can very much relate to that. Of course, Morocco is technically in the African continent, but they're part of the bigger Arab world and Middle East and North Africa region. And so marami silang overlap sa West Asian countries like Saudi Arabia and many Middle Eastern countries who, by the way, are West Asia. They're not in Africa, they're West Asia. In fact, Egypt, parts of it, Sinai Desert, are in Asia, right? Across the Red Sea. So, mga kameta, we see there are many similarities between us and Morocco in the sense that they're not very rich. Their per capita income is almost exactly like us. They're very, very family-oriented. Mahal naman nila yung kanilang pamilya. This is, again, something we Filipinos can very much relate to. They're very emotional. They're very driven. They're very international. No? So this is the third element where I see many similarities between the Philippines and Morocco. We have huge levels of communities based abroad. No? So let me pull out the numbers for you guys. So I really suggest you guys read this very, very interesting article on why Morocco's fantastic run. Hindi yan chamba, guys. They conceded no goal to any of their rivals except one own goal during the match against Canada. Like that's how good their defense is. They're solid. Their defense is strong, but their attack is just world class too, no? So I really suggest you guys read this. Don't worry, pupunta tayo sa Pilipinas soon because you'll understand where I'm coming from in terms of my analysis. No, this is very good analysis of why what's happening with Morocco is not a fluke. It's really a reflection of systems, no? Really successful systems, but also leadership. Especially leadership dun sa coach nila si, let me get this exactly right, si Russell Avocat. Yeah? Ito yung coach nila. So they got rid of Vahid Halilhodžić, yung kanilang Bosnian coach, just few months before the World Cup, and instead they placed one of their own sons, some very special coaching talent and former player in Europe, no, who's taking them to new heights, no. Let me just pull out the quotes here para ma-appreciate nyo yung mga sinasabi natin. Yung pala yung sa picture pala si Youssef and Nesiri, no. Asan na yung ano? Regragi. I think that's I hope I get, because the names are more not Arabic. Most of a lot of their names are Berber. So sorry if I'm not pronouncing the Berber as correctly. But you see, so yeah, they have a coach who brought players from all over the world. So out of say 26 players na meron sila, 14 of them were born outside Morocco, and they were brought in from 6 different countries, including of course Hakimi, who plays for Paris Saint-Germain, very top team, and also a number of other players from top teams like Chelsea, and also Dutch, Netherlands-based teams, na top teams na Netherlands. No? So you have very, very high-level players dito. Now, so they also had a local coach to lead them. A local coach who also has cosmopolitan international background from Europe, and he brought also many European Europe-born Moroccans, no? or Europeans of Moroccan heritage. He brought them together. So a dozen of their players, 14 actually, more than a dozen, 14 of the 26 players of Morocco were born outside, but he was able to bring them all together by emphasizing their shared values, including family values. But the other thing that also makes Morocco very special is their investment in football. So they're not a very rich country, but even with their limited resources, they were able to invest not only their male but also female football. No, so this is King Muhammad's the sixth, no, complex. So it's a big beautiful complex, no. Meron sila. So pakita ko sa inyo mga kameta. So they invested tens of millions of dollars, not billions, but millions of dollars. Not small, but compared to what they're getting out of it, some would say it's more than worth it. The kind of prestige they have, the kind of success. So this is the King Muhammad complex that they made a few years ago. New facilities, etc. It has multiple FIFA standard stadiums. More than that, it has all the latest facilities to make sure na yung mga athletes, especially global world-class athletes, get the kind of treatment they deserve. They get the kind of recuperation. They get the kind of facilities and training that they need. More importantly, of course, is also the investment in both male and female football. No, women's football and male's football. No, so that's why Morocco is actually very, very successful, at least in the African continent. Both in the male and female divisions, they're among the top teams. And under the current coach of Morocco, he's someone who brought multiple Moroccan teams to not only national championship, but also African level, Africa-wide championship. So they were able to beat counterparts from Nigeria, from Ghana, from Senegal, from South Africa, so on and so forth. From Egypt, not to mention much bigger country. So Morocco is a very small country, relatively low per capita income, and yet, no, with the little resources and little population they had, they smartly invested, no, not only in male but also female football. Again, this is something that is relatable to us because in the Philippines, fortunately, we're a much more gender equal country than most other Asian post-colonial nations. So the idea of investing in female football, women's football, makes sense, especially because, of course, tayo guys, meron tayong team sa World Cup na, women's football, no? Which is extremely exciting. And I look forward to cheering for our team and seeing more of our women engaging in World Cup and world football at the highest levels, no? And also joining clubs, best clubs around the world. So you have all of these elements. You have good coach. You have a coach that can bring, foreign-born people of Moroccan heritage together, can give them harmony, coherence. There's an emphasis on family values and keeping it strong with the family. Even if limited resources in Morocco, they were able to invest in good facilities among others. And ito yung parati kong sinasabi, guys. Now, Moroccans, well, they're well-built, no? Medyo malaking mga katawan nila. So, kaya nilang tapatan, no? Yung mga, ano. But, let's be honest, when it comes to football or soccer, football, I don't know about American football. Only Americans call it American football. The rest of the world, walang pake dyan. Now, if you look at it, I mean, compare mo naman dito sa basketball, guys. Clearly in basketball, height and physicality and everything already gives an edge to some over the other, right? So ako, with my height, I'm under 6 foot tall. No, 6 foot tall. Hindi ako 6 feet tall, hindi ako 6-footer. But, for football, my height is pretty good. Not good perhaps for a keeper, but good for a forward, etc. But for basketball, I'm too small, right? Even point guard, wala. Diba? You have to be super magaling. But, so, if you look at basketball, there's really an inherent bias against Asians, right? Or people like us, diba? Na, who on average, diba, just about 5'5", 5'6", mga ganun, ang male height natin. And you're talking about going against countries who have average male height of 5'10", 5'11", closer to my height, or even more, no? So, may disadvantage talaga tayo sa basketball in ways that it's unfair, no? Because basketball is really, more than 50% height and physicality, right? Which is not the case in football, because you can see countries like Japan or Korea, or even more stocky Middle Eastern countries or Latinos, South American countries, no? Mexico, Uruguay, could stand up to much taller, bigger physical teams, whether from Africa or definitely from Northern Europe, no? Western Europe, Northern Europe, among others. So, yun ang point ko sa atin. And pangalawa, as I said, actually we're spending a lot of money in basketball and all. Sana, a part of that would go to development of football in the Philippines, both female and male football. And my point is, we have a reason to think that actually Filipinos can do it, because 100 years ago, when football was just picking up, we already had a Filipino superstar when it comes to football, right? So that tells you, kaya natin yan, di ba? In fact, we have a pedigree. So, if you look at it, ito yung sinasabi natin, kung titignan niyo si Paulino Alcantara, right? Born in Iloilo, mestizo Filipino, right? He was the FC Barcelona star until Messi came in terms of record of goals among others, no? So itong football talaga, we have proven in the past. In fact, if you look at the record, no? We were able to beat, when we had a functional football team, we were able to beat yung some of our kapitbahay, 10-0 or something? Let me show you. Pakita natin yung record ng Philippines. Para hindi sasabihin na out of nowhere ko sinasabi yan. Nag-research po tayo. Tingnan natin yung datos. We have proven that historically we can do well. Okay. So, our first national game, nanalo tayo sa China, 2-1. Our biggest win, we beat Japan, 15-2. I mean, this is crazy. Look at it. 1917, we beat Japan. We were better than Japan back in the day. Way better than them. And look at where Japan is today. Nachamba lang sila ng Croatia eh. Dapat sana ngayon sila all the way to semifinals. Diba? Tingnan nyo to. Tingnan nyo to mga guys. We beat China in our first major game. This is in 1913. Right? Of course, then Commonwealth tayo. But still, we also beat Japan. 15-2. Right? Almost exactly 100 years ago. So our record is super solid. We had a very, very strong start. So it's true that in basketball, so we had a strong start back in the day. We were Asian champion. I think we made it to Olympics, top 4 semis or something like that. Nag-bronze tayo. But really from the 70s, wala eh. While we see a lot of these countries that we beat, especially the top in the world, they competed with the best. Germany this year, they beat Spain this year. They could have beaten Croatia, natalo lang sa penalties. They were already ahead in the first half. 1-0 na sila. So, I can go on and on and on and tell you guys that ang kailangan talaga natin is, pare, medyo open-minded tayo. Wag natin pilitin na basketball lang. Okay, I'm not saying let's drop basketball. But I'm saying is that, let me just give you one simple idea. How many Filipino-born basketball players made it to the highest level of NBA basketball? Right? Probably south of one. No? But in the early days, we already had a Filipino, an Iloilo-born individual, who was a top player for Barcelona, the best club in the world, right? Arguably, for a very long time. For a very long time. So clearly, given a chance, there's a higher probability that our kababayans can make it to the best clubs, football clubs in Europe than how many years have we been doing basketball and how many sa atin yung locally born na nakapasok doon sa locally bred and born and bred na nakapasok sa NBA. Parang south of one, right? That's what I'm saying. We're still waiting for a person born and raised here to be able to make it to NBA, right? Right? If I'm not mistaken. Please correct me. Si Soto, may chance tayo dyan, but let's see. But we're not only talking about someone who just gets drafted to the NBA. I'm talking about someone who can top the NBA in stats. Well, we had that in the NBA version of football. Or NBA is more like the version of Barcelona and La Liga, etc. So, yun ang sinasabi ko mga kameta. If you properly analyze it, put aside, emotions, etc., this is really the sport for us. This is really the sport for us. And this is where we have to invest. And as I said, hindi mo kailangan maging mayaman na bansa. Morocco shows us we can do it even with limited resources. As long as you have targeted investments, you focus on both men and women sports, especially in football, and you have the right coach, and you bring Filipino talents from all around the world and the locally bred and born together in a good way under a good coach and all, we can make it to the highest levels. We can make it that. Not in 1 year, maybe not even in 5 years, but over time, we can do that. Ayoko rin naman yung ginagawa na kinuha lang ng mga foreigners, ilagay lang dito naturalized. I'm not sure about that, right? Ibang usapan na yan. Okay? So yon, okay, I'll keep it there before I sound more controversial. Alam ko maraming mga basketball fanatics yan. Sige lang. Just stay fanatic about basketball and all. I'm just saying here what's going on. Okay? And football is a much wealthier sport, much more important sport in many, many ways. I'm sorry. Si Clarkson was, di ba? I'm not talking about half Pinoys in US. Clarkson, as far as I know, he was totally raised in the US, etc. Alright, so wag natin pilitan yan, okay? Okay, I'm talking about yung mga nag-aral dito at least hanggang elementary, etc. or natuto na basketball muna here bago pumunta sa US. I don't think that applies to Clarkson or any of those people. Okay, alright. Maraming salamat. Again, I mean, you can see it yourself what I'm talking about, di ba, mga kameta? I just felt kailangan na sabihin yan and hopefully we'll write some articles, blogs on this para follow up natin because I think we need some sort of intellectual openness to sports that are better for us and sports that are much bigger, much more popular. And there's much more, glory and resources and everything involved in that if we make it to the highest level. All right? Salamat. Thank you very much, guys. So, please, don't look at football as pang elitista lang, pang mayaman lang. I showed you pictures from favelas in Brazil, from Africa, among others. You just need 2 stones, or 4 stones for that matter, and just a ball. And you can do it in any narrow alley in a simple place. You don't need a football field. You don't need the basketball complex na gawa ni congressman, tapos lalagay ng malaking pangalan dyan. All you need is a ball and a little bit of space, and that's it. You have the beautiful game. That's it. Maraming salamat, guys. Maraming salamat. I really appreciate it. Please spread the message. I hope, of course, I'm not like an authority on sports and all of that, but this is just my 2 cents on this issue. So please spread the message. And please advocate for more football sa atin sa Pilipinas because I think it is much swak sa atin. And we proved back in the day we can be world class. We beat Japan big time 15-2, right? In our first biggest wins, we beat China in our first game. So yon, ang dami pa natin kayang gawin. All right? Thank you very much. God bless and talk to you soon. Salamat mga kameta. I-upload ko rin yung isa na may version ng graphics, so don't worry about it. All right? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. God bless. Have a good day.